John and Sarah had been happily married for 10 years. Despite the challenges of John's deafness, they had always managed to communicate and understand each other, relying on a combination of sign language, writing, and lip reading. They had built a strong and loving relationship, and they were grateful for the bond they shared. But everything changed one day when Sarah walked into the living room and found John talking on the phone. She couldn't believe her ears. John had never spoken a word in their entire marriage, and she had always assumed that he was incapable of producing sound. She was shocked and confused, unsure of what to make of this unexpected development. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them to do good. Also keep watching because an important lesson awaits at the end of the video. As John hung up the phone and turned to face Sarah, she could see the guilt and fear in his eyes. He knew that he had a lot of explaining to do, and he was worried about how Sarah would react. He had always been open and honest with her, but this was a secret he had kept hidden for a long time. He knew that he was taking a risk by revealing it, but he also knew that it was time to come clean. As he took a deep breath and prepared to face his wife, he couldn't help but wonder if their relationship would survive this revelation. Sarah couldn't believe what she was hearing. She had always assumed that John's deafness was complete, that he was completely unable to hear or speak. But now, as she stood in the living room, staring at her husband as he signed and spoke to her, she realized that she had been wrong. She was filled with a mix of emotions: shock, confusion, anger, and sadness. She felt like she had been lied to, like her husband had been hiding something from her for all these years. John could see the pain and hurt in Sarah's eyes, and he knew that he had to do something to make things right. He took her hand and led her to the couch, where they sat down and began to talk. He explained that he had been born with a severe hearing impairment, but that he had been able to learn to speak and communicate through years of therapy and hard work. He told her that he had always been afraid to reveal his secret, worried that she would see him differently, that she would be disappointed or angry. Sarah was heartbroken as she listened to John's story. She realized that she had never really understood the full extent of his struggles, that she had always taken his deafness for granted. She felt guilty for not being more supportive, for not realizing that he needed her more than she had realized. She wrapped her arms around him and held him close, telling him that she loved him and that she was sorry for not being there for him. As John and Sarah sat on the couch, talking and crying, they both realized that they had a lot of work to do. They had to learn to communicate more effectively, to be more understanding and supportive of each other's needs. They also had to confront the painful memories and fears that had been holding them back, and they had to find a way to move forward together. It wasn't easy, but they were determined to make their relationship work. They spent hours talking and crying, sharing their deepest thoughts and feelings. They learned to listen to each other more closely, to pay attention to each other's body language and facial expressions. They also made a commitment to be more open and honest with each other, to always tell the truth, no matter how hard it was. It took time, but slowly but surely, John and Sarah's relationship began to heal. They became closer than ever before, more understanding and supportive of each other's needs. They learned to trust each other more deeply, to rely on each other more completely. And as they faced the future together, they knew that they were stronger than ever before, and that nothing could stand in their way. Despite the progress they had made, John and Sarah knew that they still had a long way to go. There were still moments of misunderstanding and frustration, and they both had to work hard to stay patient and understanding. But they were determined to keep moving forward, to keep learning and growing together. One day, as they were sitting on the couch, Sarah had an idea. She remembered a conversation they had had early in their relationship, when John had told her about a dream he had always had: to go skydiving. Sarah had always been too scared to try it, but she realized that this was the perfect opportunity to show John that she was committed to supporting him and his dreams. Without hesitation, Sarah signed to John that she wanted to go skydiving with him. At first, John was shocked. He had never expected Sarah to be interested in something so adventurous and daring. But as he saw the determination and excitement in her eyes, he knew that she was serious. And so, with a mix of fear and excitement, he agreed. Over the next few weeks, John and Sarah trained for their big jump. They learned about safety procedures and practiced their technique, getting ready for the moment when they would be launched into the sky. And when the day finally arrived, they were more than ready. As they stepped out of the plane and into the open air, they knew that they were facing their biggest challenge yet, but they were also more united and committed than ever before, and they knew that they can overcome anything as long as they were together. As John and Sarah plummeted through the sky, they both knew that they had achieved something special. They had faced their fears and doubts, and they had come out stronger and more united than ever before. And as they landed safely on the ground, they knew that they had a lot to be proud of. Over the next few days, John and Sarah reflected on their experience and all that they had learned. They realized that they had come a long way since that day when Sarah had walked in on John talking on the phone. They had learned to trust and support each other more deeply, and they had found a new appreciation for the bond they shared. As they looked back on their journey, they knew that they had a lot to be grateful for. They were thankful for the challenges that had brought them closer together, and they were grateful for the love and understanding that had helped them overcome them. They knew that they had a bright future ahead of them, and that they were ready to take on whatever came their way. And as they held hands and looked into each other's eyes, they knew that they were ready for whatever the world had in store for them.